Hey, good morning, fam. Good morning. What's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Did you guys get some rest? It feels like I was just here not too long ago. Today on the show, 205-850-1994, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I want to kind of have a roundtable of open college football discussion, if you will. I want to talk about Georgia, Michigan, Florida State. 3 of the 4 teams that are up in the top 4, along with Ohio State. Are those teams beatable? I want to look at their schedule. I want to get your take. I also want to talk to you about Coach Prime. Was this just hype, or is something real happening in Boulder? And do you think there's going to be something afterwards? And what I mean by that is, do you think Coach Prime eventually goes somewhere else into a bigger market and does what he's done at Colorado? And that is rebuild a program just straight from the transfer portal. And then I want to get your weekend picks. There's a good college football slate on, and I want to get your take on that. So we're doing open football college discussion today right here on Bama Football on YouTube as Alabama enters the open week. Alabama is 7-1 on the season, 5-0 in SEC play. Next up, LSU. Kickoff time is 6:45 p.m. on CBS. And with that said, we go right to the phone lines this morning, and we got a 470. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Andrew from Douglasville. How you doing?
What's up, Andrew? Good morning, man. Appreciate you leading off the show, man. I kind of wanted to take the show today in terms of like a overall college football look. And I know as we start to look at the college football playoff rankings, which will be dropped here on Tuesday night, what do you think about, Georgia, Michigan, some of these teams? I mean, are they beatable? I kind of want to open up the schedule too and kind of look at a glance and look who they have remaining on their schedule and whatnot. So let's just start with Georgia right away. Is this team beatable, or are they different than the past? And I'll bring up their schedule while you talk about them.
Well, I think every team is beatable. I don't think any team is unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
I think Georgia is definitely beatable. I just don't think anyone on the rest of the schedule is going to beat them. I think it'd be pretty funny if Georgia would lose to Florida, but then I think we probably have to defeat an undefeated Georgia to get in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately for Alabama, Georgia has to win out if they get in the playoffs. But I think Georgia is definitely beatable. But I don't see them losing to any team but Bama. Bama's always seems to get the edge over Georgia. They just can never get it done against Bama except in that national championship. But I ain't going to count that one. And then Michigan, well, my thing about Michigan is it's just sign stealing. Is this why they've been so good? Is because they've known the other team's signs, which has given them a competitive advantage, Mm-hmm. So you got to wonder about that. But I think Michigan's a good team, but they haven't played anyone yet. So when they play a good opponent like Penn State or Ohio State, are they going to beat them? I don't know. They really haven't played anyone yet. So I don't know if this Michigan team is beatable or not. Or if they can be beat by Penn State or Ohio State. But, like I said, with the sign stealing, you got to wonder about that. And then I think Coach Prime is a good coach.
Hold on, we missed Florida State.
FSU, yeah, Florida State. I knew I was missing one. Florida State. Oh yeah, they're definitely beatable. And, I mean, I know you're not supposed to, hold a team to a couple games they had this season, but I mean, come on, they almost lost to Boston College. Should have lost to Clemson. So this team is definitely beatable, or it was beatable earlier in the season. At this point, I don't know. I think Alabama could definitely beat them. But I'm just not buying the FSU hype. I'm just really not buying into it,
FSU's remaining game. So they're coming off that Duke victory, which they had to come from behind to win, and they won that game 38-20. Their remaining games at Wake Forest, at Pitt. Remember, Pitt beat Louisville. Still not having a very strong season. Take on Miami. That game is at Doak Campbell. You have Northern Alabama, and then you travel to Florida to play at the Swamp against the Gators. So when you look at Florida State's schedule, very favorable. And then, of course, the ACC championship, you got to think they're going to play North Carolina. So that's kind of a look at Florida State's schedule. And when you look overall at Florida State's schedule as well, kind of rewind to the top, they beat a team that Alabama's about to play next, and that was LSU, and that's kind of, been their staple win this season. That was a good victory. I did watch that game, and it was impressive. I mean, they controlled that game 45-24, and then nothing. These two games right here, though, this Boston College and Clemson game, I watched both of those games as well, and they should have lost. This should be a 2-loss team. They found a way to win.
Should.
Yeah,
they really should.
But they found a way to win.
I mean, I guess you could say the same for Alabama.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Alabama has the credibility, though.
Mm-hmm.
And FSU really doesn't. But I don't know. Florida's a good team. So, I mean, I know they beat a really good SEC opponent in LSU, but the Swamp is really hard to play at, So they may go in there and lose at the Swamp. And I still don't think they could beat Alabama or Georgia. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
The two top boys in the SEC, I really don't think they could beat those two teams.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if Alabama keeps improving. And then
we need to talk about Coach Prime.
Yeah, Coach Prime. I think Coach Prime is good. I think you give him a better program in Colorado, he could do a much better job. And I don't like building a program straight out of the transfer portal. I just don't see that lasting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you actually need to build a good program, like Nick Saban's done at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if he can fit the standard of Alabama. I just don't know if he'd be the right fit for Alabama, if you know what I mean. But give him a team like Michigan or Ohio State, I think he could do amazing things. Because let me tell you, Jason Day, ain't it? Is it Jason?
It's Ryan Day. Ryan Day.
I think I got him mixed up with someone else. Ryan Day. Ryan Day's a fraud. He's
See, this is what I was thinking about with Coach Prime. Okay, and I've said this a couple times. And where's their smoke right now? Who's on the hot seat at a major program? Jimbo Fisher. Okay, if they can come up with the money, I think it's like $19 million or something like that to buy him out and then pay him thereafter. That is a juicy program in the state of Texas. Now, I don't know if cultures fit with Coach Prime going to Texas A&M, but I can't even imagine. And it wouldn't be Texas because Texas already has Sark, and they're going to pay him whatever he wants. But if Coach Prime was to go to another team and another team that could afford him, in a team that could really build off this NIL package that now exists in the transfer portal, I mean, a team in Texas would theoretically make sense. And I can't imagine what he could do with that amount of money and everything to follow him. Because, look, Jimbo Fisher, as we've seen, I mean, it's not working out at Texas A&M. I don't think, it would have kind of the same allure of Coach Prime going to like an Arkansas or something like that. I think a Texas program, just because of the money behind Texas A&M, that would be interesting. I just don't know culturally if that would necessarily, fit together. But I guess we'll have to see. Andrew, I want to ask you, and we'll get to my next callers in just a second, but let's get some weekend picks in here, man. I'm going to bring up the college football slate real quick so everybody can look at this full screen, and we'll kind of go through it. How about my New Mexico State Aggies? They were able to beat up on Liberty, which was they didn't beat Liberty. They beat Louisiana Tech by a score of 27-24. This Saturday, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit tighter. There we go. Matchups include Florida State. Let me see how that looks. It doesn't look like it's zoomed in to me. Oh, there we go. These are the matchups. So you got Florida State taking on Wake Forest. So let's just kind of scroll through these and do them real quick, Andrew. Florida State, Wake Forest, who you got?
Probably Florida State.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if Wake Forest get it done.
What about this one? Oklahoma and Kansas.
Yeah, I probably got Oklahoma. I don't think Kansas got the depth to beat Oklahoma. Indiana don't stand a chance at.
None of these are really even good matchups. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Okay, Georgia at Florida.
Dude, I realize it'd be funny because I'm not a really big Georgia guy if Georgia lost, but I think unfortunately they have to be undefeated.
They're gonna win. Okay,
that is gonna be close. That's gonna be a close game though. That is gonna be a close game. So I think Georgia wins, but I don't think it's gonna be pretty. I think that's gonna be a close one.
Okay, Texas playing without their quarterback. Yeah.
BYU, they always seem to be all right, but I don't think they're that good this season. Usually they're ranked in the top 25. Seems like the last few years. So I take Texas to win that game. See Oregon and Utah. That's going to be a good game. I don't know, man. They're both good teams. I'm going to go with Oregon. I think Oregon's got a little bit better team, but I think that'll be a close one. Duke and Louisville. I think Duke is hungry after getting beat by Florida State, right? Wait, who beat Duke? Was it Florida State?
No, Florida State beat Duke, and Pittsburgh was able to beat Louisville. So Notre Dame hosting Pittsburgh, and then Louisville is hosting Duke. So I guess that's an interesting game, but let's kind of bypass that. Okay, Auburn, Mississippi State. I mean, that's kind of the who cares in the SEC, but I would assume that Auburn wins that and gets some sort of momentum.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any other games kind of worth talking about as we kind of scroll through. It's kind of okay. Washington. How about this one? Washington at Stanford. That could be an interesting one. Stanford, they came back to beat Colorado. Now, I know Colorado isn't, an elite team right now, but that could be an interesting one considering some of those Pac-12 games are a little bit squirrely. Maybe Washington on upset alert right there.
I can see it. I mean, they did come back against Colorado. Is that Stanford? Like, they're having a losing season right now, aren't they? I don't know, man. Washington's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't really like this college football slate this weekend.
Okay, let's see. Ohio State at Wisconsin.
These are all. Yeah, these are all games we know that are going to pick.
I think the Tennessee Kentucky game could be interesting though. Kentucky's pretty good, so that may be an interesting game.
Yeah, that is kind of a
Colorado. Colorado, UCLA. That could be a good one too. That could be a good one. No, yeah, North Carolina is not going to lose to Georgia Tech. I don't think so.
Quincy inside the comment box saying maybe Prime goes to the Raiders if McDaniels is fired. I mean, you imagine Coach Prime in the NFL.
No, I see him more as a college football coach.
I kind of feel that way as well. Quincy, I appreciate the comments. I think so as well because of the fact that he can dictate kind of the culture in college football, whereas like in the NFL, like these guys are already so established. And what's up, Coach Smook? I see you inside the comment box. Smook, where's Prime going next? Let me know in the comment box. All right, Andrew, I appreciate you calling in, man, and thank you for jumpstarting the show this morning, and please call again next time. I'll be live again tomorrow, all this week, coming to you at 9 a.m., so appreciate you calling in, Andrew.
All right, man, roll tide.
All right, roll tide to you. That was Andrew getting the show started off. We got 720, and we got Demetrius calling in as well. We'll go right back to the phone lines here in a second. You make the call this morning. Is Georgia beatable? Is Michigan beatable? Is Florida State beatable? Coach Prime, is it just hype? And where could be a good program if he was to jump from Colorado? And how long do you think he'll be at Colorado? Then I want to get some weekend picks. I guess when you look at the college football slate, the only games that are really, that really stand out, in my opinion, is that one with Georgia going to Florida, or that game's in Jacksonville. I guess BYU and Texas, considering Texas is playing with a backup quarterback. But the game of the week, no doubt, is Oregon at Washington at Utah, who's number 13. Just considering that Utah has such a great defense, and that's going to be a tall task for Bo Nix and company. And then I guess from the SEC standpoint, Mississippi State and Auburn, it's not that of an exciting college football slate. But you do have Bryce Young and Will Anderson, right? They're playing this weekend. So Panthers in Houston. With that said, we go back to the phone lines, and it's a 720. Let's start right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, or where are you calling in from?
Good morning, Kyle. This is Rob in Colorado.
What's up, Rob? I appreciate you joining us this morning, man. Thanks for calling back this week. It's always good to hear from you, man. So we're playing You Make the Call, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State. I mean, all those teams. I mean, look, Georgia is clearly established, and they've done what they've done. Michigan is beating everybody. I think we talked a little bit about that before, but, like, we keep on harping about this Florida State team. They do have a good victory over LSU, but, I mean, when you look at those three teams, all those teams are beatable, right? Am I wrong about that?
Absolutely. I mean, wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
So let's start with Georgia. What do you think about Georgia? And I'll pull up kind of the graphic, and we can look at their schedule. What do you think about Georgia?
I feel Georgia is beatable. I feel like they have yet to be exposed. I don't have the schedule in front of me. Let me see.
We have it. I have it right here. They got Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech up next. Or do you want their full schedule?
Okay, Missouri. If Missouri can borrow Auburn Jesus, they can beat them in Georgia. It's up to Florida and Missouri, Kyle. Mm-hmm. They handle business. But then again, do we want them to lose? You know? Do we?
Yeah.
Because I know we can beat them. And like the other caller said, only Bama can beat Georgia. Like, no. There's other teams. Ohio State could probably get them. Heck, Michigan could probably get them. But, they're not unbeatable. I mean, I know we can beat them. And when we play them, God be with us. Our players are healthy. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The way we're playing right now, we got the attitude. We got the energy.
So no chances Florida team beats them this weekend in Jacksonville?
No. That's I think. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
And remember that game is in Jacksonville. It's a neutral site game.
I think Florida is going to beat them.
That's an upset pick, Rob. Is that your upset? Is that your upset pick of the week?
That's my. You said Florida State goes to Louisville? I'm sorry, I skipped ahead, but is that what you said?
No. Florida State is on the road. Let's stay with Georgia. But when we get to Florida State, okay. Florida State is on the road at Wake Forest.
Oh, wait. I was going to say, man, they had to go to. Oh, okay, but yeah, we'll stick with Georgia for now, though.
Yeah, but look, for me, Florida, I think will be challenging just because it's a neutral site game. Whatever, Florida's playing a little bit better football right now. Missouri is an improved team, but the thing is, like Georgia, the thing that also works for Georgia's schedule is look at this right here. You have Missouri, who is improved, but that game is in Athens, and then you have Lane Kiffin and company. That is a dangerous game for them for sure. Everybody knows that Ole Miss is improved. They're ranked 12th, but that game is also in Georgia. And then on top of that, so this is kind of their this is their gauntlet. This is Georgia's gauntlet, what they're about to start right here. Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and then a trip to Knoxville to play Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. I mean, I think they could lose one of those games for sure. I mean, Georgia Tech, they're going to blow those guys out, but this is a tough 4-game stretch for Georgia.
Wait. It's in Georgia. See, they're lucky it's in Georgia. But them playing Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin is gonna have Sutton cooking in the kitchen, finger licking, and it's gonna be sticking. So I think that will probably be a 1:30. Well, Georgia plays at 1:30 a lot. It'll probably be a 1:30. Well, for you, 2:30 prime time, because you kind of got two prime times. You got like a early afternoon and a late afternoon. That's going to be a primetime game. Mm-hmm. Lane Kiffin, oh, yeah, he wants to knock off Georgia. He couldn't get Bama. We got by him. But in Georgia, you're not getting by. So I think that should be a good game. Georgia's going to have to play a good game to get out of there alive.
And look at Georgia's schedule ahead of that. I mean, UT Martin, Ball State, South Carolina, UAB, at Auburn, Kentucky, at Vanderbilt. I mean, this schedule has been so favorable for these guys, and I'm going to bring up Michigan's schedule next because, Georgia and Michigan are top of the college football rankings, but with that said, these guys have played such an easy schedule this season. I mean, it's really been amazing to just see how light the schedules have been for each of these teams. What do you think about Michigan and kind of what their schedule is? I'm going to bring it up here on the back end, Rob.
Michigan's schedule is pancakes with extra syrup, Fruit Loops, bananas, and brown sugar on top.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. So they started off with East Carolina. They won 30-3. Then they beat UNLV. Then they beat Bowling Green. Then they beat Rutgers. Then they beat Nebraska. Then they beat Minnesota. This schedule, my goodness. Then they beat Indiana, and then they went to Michigan State and everything surrounding them, and they won 49-0. Open this week as well. Then they take on Purdue. That's it, the big house. Then they travel to Happy Valley to take on Penn State. Then they go to Maryland and Ohio State. So that's their 3-game gauntlet, is those back-to-back-to-back games from November 11th to November 25th. Clearly it's Ohio State, but I mean, you can't sleep on Penn State and you can't sleep on Talia Tagovailoa there at Maryland.
You're right. You're right on all. You're right on all fronts. You're right. Michigan. My thing is, Kyle, like they kind of pass the eye test, but if you watch football, like you watch football, you know who's good and you know who's not. And we got to see. I saw how good Penn State was when they played Ohio State, and they weren't there. But it's like, they're gonna get, okay, I'll say this: they're gonna get smacked by Penn State, or they're gonna dog walk Penn State.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. I think that game's probably tighter just being because it is, up in PA. I think that game will be tight. I mean, look, Penn State gave Ohio State everything they had. It's not a bad team. And I know we're not talking about Ohio State today. I think Ohio State, in my opinion, is the best team in the Big Ten. That's just my opinion. That's why I didn't add them there. I think they're proven. They had Georgia on the ropes last year, right? I think that I'm buying into the Ohio State team. I don't think they're as good as teams in the past, but I think that Ohio State is definitely they're my pick to win the Big Ten right now. Let's look at Rob. Let's look at Florida State's football schedule. What's your overall assessment of Florida State? Kind of just, when I talk Florida State football, what comes to your mind?
Florida State kind of reminds me of a better version of UNC. Just to say in short, those guys fight hard, they play hard, they believe, but do they have the athletes? And who was it in the interview? I think it was Justin Boybe. He was like, teams don't just have it; they don't have enough to stay with us. I like that. Mm-hmm. He said the game isn't 1 and 2 quarters, which is true. We would love to have a good start though, because we're kind of used to that, and people give Jalen Milroe a hard time because we're coming off of Bryce Young. Bryce Young could almost make almost any pass on the field. Mm-hmm. So and like the guy said last night, we're watching him develop. He's way better than Hurts. In Hurts' first year. Look at Hurts now. Hurts is in the NFL. Now, can Hurts make every pass? No. Right. Like Hurts is not Tua right now. Tua can make every pass on the field. But still, he's a starting NFL quarterback. So I think Jalen Milroe can be that guy. So, I'm sorry, I fell off what your initial question was because I got on that.
Florida State. I mean, look at Florida State. I mean, up at the top, they have a victory over LSU, right? And that's a good win. And we all watched that game. That was on a Sunday night, and it was prime time, 45-24. But when you look to the remaining games, I think there are certainly games on this schedule that they could lose. I don't think they'll lose against Wake Forest or Pitt, but that game against Miami and the game at Florida, those are going to be challenging for Florida State. And then, of course, they have the ACC championship game. So Florida State right now, a lot of people buying into them. I want to hear from you inside the comment box. Are you buying Florida State, or are you selling Florida State as they're undefeated? So as you can see, Rob, clearly Florida State can drop some games. Let me ask you, Rob, about Coach Prime. Now, on my questions today that I'm asking everybody, when you look to Colorado and you look to everything that's gone on with Coach Prime, do you think that he stays at Colorado? Do you think this was just hype? Like, what's your overall kind of feel, your gauge? Do you think he leapfrogs from Colorado and goes somewhere else sooner than later? What's kind of your take?
Real quick, Florida might lose this weekend. No, that's Saturday. No, that's the 28th. They might lose this weekend. At Pittsburgh will be close, and they're going to lose at Florida. Colorado, right now, Deion Sanders has the keys to the state. I mean, I live in Denver, 40 miles west of Boulder, and he literally can, like, do anything because he's that guy. The Stanford loss hurt bad. Like, there was rumors. I don't think it was from us here in Colorado, but there was rumors that we wanted him out. But I think that was people trying to cause division, and that was an ugly loss. Now, will he stay? I mean, Kyle, if he goes to A&M with his star power and he's not a fraud like Jimbo Fisher, the fans are clowns. They drug Kevin Sumlin through the mud, and Sumlin was actually a better. A&M actually played us harder when he was there. So, Kyle, do I want to see him go to A&M? No, because I don't want to deal with that, man. He'll be a better Kevin Sumlin.
Well, the thing that he would have over someone like Sumlin is he has a transfer portal, and he has the money to basically buy any type of player because Texas A&M could afford whatever you want. They're in the SEC. He would have. I mean, they have probably the best facilities in the country. I just I don't know if he makes a jump like that, but I just curious to kind of get people's thoughts because Jimbo Fisher clearly is on the hot seat at Texas A&M. I don't know if it happens this year or next year, but I don't see things drastically improving for the Aggies. So anyways, okay, I'm asking everybody about weekend picks, and I was looking at the college football slate. It's kind of a low week of high impact games, but you have Oregon taking on Utah. Who are you taking there? The game is in Utah, so you have number 8 Oregon taking on number 13 Utah. Who you got?
Definitely Utah. Definitely. I'm rolling with them. You can bet it. I got it on my parlay.
So you got you, and I think so too. Who else is on your parlay? I'm curious about that. Rob?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm here. Oh, well, let me pull that parlay up. Let me pull that parlay up real quick. I have. Let me see. NCAA. No, that's not batch right here. I got South Carolina, Texas A&M under 53. I just that's a fishy one. That's a fishy one. Penn State, Indiana over 46. Because I feel like Penn State's gonna be pissed off. They might just run all over them. Boston College, UConn over 51.5. Okay, I think that one will get it. It's mainly over unders. That's my only game I have. I threw it in there.
All right, Rob. Well, I appreciate your weekend picks, man. Thanks for calling in from Colorado, man, and I'll catch up with you next time, bro. All right, take it easy, Rob.
Yes, sir. You have okay.
Rob had a lot going on there. Demetrius up next. We got a 479-205 and a 256 up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Today I'm asking you, is Georgia beatable? Is Michigan beatable? Florida State beatable? Coach Prime, more than just hype, or could he bounce somewhere else? And I want to get your weekend picks. Really just when you look at that college football slate, I guess Oregon versus Utah, BYU going to Texas. And I guess that one is interesting to me because Texas is playing without their quarterback who went down with a shoulder injury. And then you have Georgia taking on Florida. That's a neutral site game. other than that, I mean, I guess we're all keeping our eyes on. I mean, maybe the Oklahoma at Kansas one, just because Kansas has been playing a little bit better football this year. But Dylan Gabriel's been on fire, and Florida State on the road at Wake Forest. But I think the Seminoles cruise through that one. So with that said, we go right back to the phone lines, and we got Demetrius coming in. Demetrius, what's up, man? Appreciate you calling in.
Hey, what's going on, Kyle, the man of the Bama style?
Yeah, what's up, man? Appreciate you calling in this morning.
Of course. Glad to talk to the Alabama fan base here.
Yeah, so
I hope everybody doing all right, have a blessed day.
Yeah, so we're talking Georgia, Michigan, Florida State. We're bringing up their schedules. I mean, when you look to these teams, they're clearly not the teams from the past. I'm going to bring up Georgia's schedule right here just so everybody can kind of look at it again. It has been incredible to see just how easy their schedule has been. And you look to Alabama's schedule compared to this schedule. I mean, it's laughable. And yet, Georgia is still at the top of the college football mountain.
Well, Coach Saban scratched his head when his schedule first came out. And, of course, ain't nobody else, their fan base is going, oh, it is what it is. But it is what it is. I mean, like, what was that coach said? Bill Parcells, your record says who you are. And, regardless who you play, you got to go out there and handle business. And of course, the cupcakes really don't matter. But some teams just seem to play a whole season of cupcakes, and it's the X factor that Alabama has. We get everybody the best. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Prairie View A&M. We're gonna get their best game. Don't no other team get the best game from other schools. I don't care who it is. They'll draw up every wrinkle play it is. So just so they can. I mean, the guy from Tennessee, Hyde. Yeah, he's an excellent receiver. I'm a Giants fan. He played for the Giants. I mean, he made his one living off that one game against Alabama last year. I mean, he hung his hat on it. It is what it is. I mean, which
one of these teams on Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Georgia Tech can beat Georgia, if any, in your opinion?
I don't believe. I go with the wild card, Missouri, before I cost.
I just don't see them getting beat at home. I'm leaning towards and then I look at Ole Miss. I think because I think Lane Kiffin has the offense to do it, and I think after playing, and after watching Tennessee, I think that game in Neyland, if Tennessee hasn't cashed it in and if they haven't given up on their season, Tennessee I think 100% could be Georgia. I mean those are the two. So I look at Ole Miss and Tennessee. I mean I know Missouri's improved or whatever. I'm still not buying them, especially at Georgia. All right, let me ask you about Michigan's back end schedule. Which team do you think beats Michigan? Is it Ohio State? Is it Penn State? Is it someone else? What's your thoughts on Michigan?
I believe Ohio State be able to beat them. We'll beat them. Penn State. They don't have the offensive firepower to do it. And considering this little cheating scandal, I was making deliveries in Ohio yesterday, and boy, them folks upset about that little that little Spygate they had got going on up there.
The sign's still in, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that this is going to be interesting? So if Michigan wins. Okay, if they beat Purdue and they beat Penn State and they beat Maryland and then they lose to Ohio State, they'll be sitting inside the college football playoff committee with one loss. And you look, and the reason I bring that up is because let's say Ohio State, and if Ohio State beats Michigan, Ohio State, and they win the Big Ten, they're definitely going into the playoffs, right? So we have one playoff team. And then you have Michigan with one loss, and you look at their style point schedule. Look at the margin of victories. This is what the playoff committee wants. The playoff committee wants you to play East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers. Those are the teams that they want on your schedule. They want more Chattanooga. They want more, Bowling Greens or whoever else on your schedule because they want style points. They want to see you win by large margins of victory. When the playoff committee puts this resume down on their table and they put Alabama's and they're like, okay, East Carolina, Michigan won 30-3. Alabama was tied against South Florida and it was, 17-3 final, whatever. So the Alabama doesn't have the style points that Michigan has on this weak schedule. And against South Florida, Coach Saban had to make a statement about the quarterback. So that game could come back to bite them because there's going to be all the college football talking heads that are going to say Alabama couldn't beat South Florida. They barely got past them. That game is going to come. The final score is going to come back to affect them because the final score is all that matters. And you want style points like that Michigan has. So if Michigan just has one loss, they have the style points. And if they've beat Penn State and Maryland to end the season, then I think Michigan has a strong chance still to get in the Big Ten, gets 2 teams in. What do you think about that, Demetrius?
No, I can agree with that. I mean, considering style points. I mean, are they gonna come into the mindset like us Alabama fans that we get everybody best shot? That was USF's best game probably ever. They gonna play this year. I mean, so style points, it could come back about it, but we get out there and handle business, and beat the remaining teams on our schedule. That'll nullify that USF game.
What do you think about Coach Prime overall? When you think about Coach Prime, do you think that what he's done at Colorado was just kind of hype and just excitement? Do you think he leapfrogs to another program? What do you think when you think about Coach Prime and kind of the future of Deion Sanders?
Individually, as a football player, one of the best to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
But is he an X's and O's coach? When the tough get going, I mean, is you gonna dial it up, and stay on your offensive, defensive coordinators? Give them. I don't see the X's and O's yet from him.
Mm-hmm.
Rah rah rah, sis boom ba, a hype. I mean, if my humble opinion, I'm going with he need to be paying homage to Nick Saban for getting the rules changed from him. Cause let's cut the nonsense now. NIL, I ain't gonna say all of his costs was Nick Saban, but some of it is just to stop him and the Alabama Crimson Tide from keep rolling over everybody.
Let me ask you about your weekend pick between Oregon and Utah. Who you got? And it's Oregon on the road playing at Utah, and then you have Georgia and Florida taking place in the world's biggest cocktail down in Jacksonville. Who are your picks on those 2 games?
I believe I take most definitely Georgia to beat Florida.
Mm-hmm. And what about Oregon on the road playing at Washington?
That's the upset out of all teams this weekend. That's the upset I'm kind of looking at.
Mm-hmm.
That Utah got some fight in them. They like a female pit bull.
Did you guys see that the entire Utah team got brand? Oh, we got disconnected. Demetrius, hang on. I'll be right back. Did you guys see that Utah, their entire team, got brand new trucks? That was crazy. Like a dealership gave every single player, all their 85 players, got brand new trucks. That was crazy. I'll connect back to the phone line in just a second. On the show today, Georgia, are they beatable? Michigan, are they beatable? Florida State, are they beatable? Was Coach Prime just hyping weekend picks? I think when you look to my first question about Georgia, Yeah, I mean, they're about to go on that back end gauntlet, and I think it's going to be challenging for them to play Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, that team's good. That team's a lot better than I thought for sure, and they got the wide receivers and the X's and O's to do it. Do they have the defense? Are they physical enough? I don't know. I think them with Georgia not having Brock Bowers, I think that certainly puts them in a difficult place these next couple of games. And if they're able to get it out and to gut it out to beat match up with Alabama, I think that is going to be a great matchup, in the SEC championship, in a matchup that I think, and I've said this before, Alabama's only way back to getting respect from the fans, from the world of college football, to silence all the doubters, is to beat an undefeated Georgia. So you almost kind of have to root for Georgia to be undefeated, because if Georgia loses one game and still makes the SEC championship and meets Alabama, people are going to be like, well, you beat a Georgia team that didn't have Brock Bowers and a team that wasn't that good. So you have to beat Georgia at their best. And I think they certainly could do that if they get to that point. But you beat an undefeated Georgia, you're 1,000,000% back in the playoffs, and you have the respect back that you've worked for, and you go into the playoffs with a lot of momentum, and you continue to recraft your team, and Jalen Milroe continues to evolve as a quarterback that we know he's going to be. But the only way through, if you want to be the beast, you got to do what the beast does, and the beast is winning, and that's Georgia. So you got to beat Georgia up at their best. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Got disconnected from my phone line. Just 1 second. All right, fam, back. Sorry about that. It's the internet. Things happen. It's just, that's kind of the world that we live in. But we move forward. All right, let's go back to the call queue. We got a 479, a 334, a 337, and a 586. All coming up next. We'll do our I think this is a 479. I think it's Andrew's double dipping. Andrew, you double dipping today?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with? Where are you calling in from? Yeah.
This is Juwan.
What's up,
From
Juwan?
Arkansas.
Oh, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in.
How you doing, man?
I thought you were double dipping. Your phone number looked similar to another caller, man, but I appreciate you calling in, Juwan. It's been a minute since we talked, man.
Yeah, man, I've just been watching the landscape of college football, watching all these teams, trying to get a good view on everybody.
So what do you think
right
about...
Right now, I think Michigan is clear-cut.
Go ahead, Juwan.
It's the Wolverines. It's the Wolverines right now for me, man. That's the best team in the country. Regardless of if they're stealing signs or whatever they're doing, people forget that they brought back Blake Corum was one of their best running backs. Donovan Edwards was one of their best running backs. With J.J. McCarthy, they brought back a lot of experience that they've had, especially going to the playoffs like they've been doing and beating Ohio State 2 years in a row. So that's the toughest team that I see right now. But that last caller, man, he said he'd hate for Alabama to play Utah. Alabama would wipe the floor with Utah. Yeah. Alabama would wipe the floor with the Pac-12 and the ACC, man.
100%.
I've got to say that. And the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm. What?
I've watched everybody play football this season, and I heard you say who can beat Georgia. Mm-hmm. The only team that can beat Georgia is Alabama.
Do you think that? What do you think about what I was saying earlier? If Alabama, their way back to respect is to beat an undefeated Georgia, right? That's the only way that Alabama gets back their respect.
Well, this is the thing. Nobody ever lost respect for Alabama. Nobody ever lost respect for Coach Saban. Nobody ever counted them out. Maybe a couple. The fans. It was the fans who did that. Mm-hmm. Alabama's own fans are the ones that caught them out. Those are their worst critics because they judge Alabama's team off of past teams, and you can't do that. Some of this stuff that we've seen at the University of Alabama will never get recreated. Mm-hmm. You'll never see Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, and Henry Ruggs all in one room, all at the same time producing for Alabama. That'll never happen again. but you will get spot play. You'll get where Kobe Prentice to go off one game. You'll get where Isaiah Bond to go off one game. Jermaine Burton, he had his game against Texas A&M, but you're not going to get all three of those guys clicking at once. And in this team of Alabama right now, they don't need that. Mm-hmm. All everybody did before the season was talk bad about Jalen Milroe, and all he's done is go out and win. Mm-hmm. Jalen Milroe is just a solid quarterback, and he just makes the right plays. No, he's not going to go out there and just throw the ball all around the field. Not saying that he can't, but when it comes to deep shots, he's going to hit those deep shots. Mm-hmm. You don't look for them to blow anybody out by 21-24. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to do enough this season just to keep winning. Mm-hmm. It'll be a three-point victory, a 7-point victory, but all that matters is that you win. I don't think style points matter at all. Mm-hmm. If you take the resume of Alabama, right, they have the best and I know this sounds crazy. They have the best loss this season. All right, Texas came into Tuscaloosa and won, but they are the highest one-loss ranked team. Mm-hmm. So you look at Alabama's resume, they beat all the SEC schools almost. They got LSU last, they got Auburn last, and a couple other games. Mm-hmm. We can probably go out on a limb and say LSU don't have enough defense to even stop Alabama, to even keep that game competitive. Mm-hmm. They're not going to stop Alabama on offense. Mm-hmm. Alabama could run the football and win that game against LSU. So whenever it comes down to the playoffs, all Alabama has to do is keep winning, make it to Atlanta, beat Georgia, and they'll be in the playoffs. Yep. This is not a bad team to me. Mm-hmm. This is a really, really good team. Mm-hmm. Alabama, they're giving up 1.2 yards rushing a game. Mm-hmm. That is amazing. Mm-hmm. So you really can't run the football against them. Mm-hmm. They're a young team. When I look at Alabama, I see Caleb Downs as a freshman, James Smith's in the rotation. You've got a couple other guys in the rotation too. Jalen Milroe is a first-year starter. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going to be pretty this season. Mm-hmm. However you slice it, it wasn't going to be pretty. But give Coach Saban the credit. He's taken this young team and that everybody was down on. Oh, this ain't the Alabama team. They're soft. They're cotton. They're this. And all I've seen them do is come out and win ever since that loss against Texas. Mm-hmm. And I see them progressively every single week get better. I don't know who else could have been down like that on Tennessee and stormed back in that second half like they did. Jalen Milroe showed a lot of poise, a lot of composure, never panicked, just kept playing his game, and Alabama fought back and won that game. And Tennessee's a tough team. In my opinion, Tennessee has the best offensive line in the Southeastern Conference this year. Them and Missouri. Mm-hmm. They've ran the football on everybody, and they've protected Joe Milton very well. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Joanne.
That's what I see from the Crimson Tide.
Joanne, I want to get the spelling on your name correct. Can you spell it out for me so I can get it right on the border?
It's Jawan.
All right, cool. Thanks, Joanne. What I want to get to this point about, I know we've kind of gone a little bit away from the points right now, but I think you bring up a good point about Coach Saban and the coaching job that he's done this year. Because a lot of people have been wanting to see more fire. They wanted to see mad Saban. But I think what he's doing is he's really mentoring this team because, to your point, this was a young team. This is a young team. We continue to see them grow up. And he's all about sports psychology and what he does from the schematic standpoint, not only on the field, but what he does from coaching his players. And I think he's doing such an incredible job. Would you say this is one of his best coaching jobs? I mean, can you imagine if this team goes and they win even just the SEC championship? This is going to go down as one of Coach Saban's best years, regardless.
Best ever. It's his best coaching job ever. And the reason why I say that is for all the factors that we just named. Mm-hmm. You look at last season, you lost Bryce Young, you lost Will Anderson, you lost Jahmyr Gibbs. Mm-hmm. Year after year, Alabama loses these guys. And this is what I tell people. When you think of Alabama players, man, they're not just good. These dudes are legendary. Will Anderson, legendary.
Yes.
Dallas Turner, when he leaves, he's going to be one of the best. Jameer Gibbs showed out.
Yeah.
You look at Bryce Young, legendary. Nobody came through there and won the Heisman ever at quarterback for Alabama but him. Devontae Smith, legendary, Heisman winner, wide receiver. So that stuff is going to be hard to replace every single year when you're losing these type of guys. These aren't your average dudes. Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram, those aren't your average dudes. That's going to be hard when you're a running back, when you're a wide receiver, to come behind those. Those are huge shoes to fill. Julio Jones, those are huge shoes to fill. And the University of Alabama fans have to understand that. Those guys, those were one of one. Every guy I just named is a one-of-one player for the University of Alabama. You will never see those kind of guys again. So you have to wipe the slate clean and give everybody their own opportunity to make their own name. Look at Caleb Downs. They're not comparing him to anybody. By the time Caleb Downs leaves, he'll be one of the best safeties that ever played at this school.
100%. Yeah.
And he's doing a great job.
Yeah. 100%.
People don't understand how hard it is to be a true freshman to step in and play ball. It is very hard. So for Coach Saban to take a bunch of these guys and to have the output that they're having, because they're playing great to me. They're playing really, really good to me. I wasn't expecting for the offense to put up 60 points or anything like that. I wanted to see Alabama get back to pushing people around, which the offensive line's been suspect, but they're getting better because they ran the ball really, really well against Arkansas and against Tennessee. They've been running the ball better. So I just think I kind of compare this to that second season after Jimbo Fisher won the national championship at Florida State. It was Jameis Winston, and it was a bunch of no-name receivers. And Jameis literally willed them back to that playoff. And that's Jimbo's best coaching job he's ever done. But still, my picture on coaching is this. You can only do so much X and O's before your players really take it over and make the plays. Like Bryce Young is good, but how many times did you see Bryce Young throw Jameson Williams a 10-yard pass and Jameson did the rest? Same with Jameer Gibbs. Bryce was a point guard, just dealing it out. So he was dealing out to Jameer Gibbs and he was making it happen. You have to have those type of guys. And Alabama has those kind of guys. They're just young. So that's why I give Coach Saban the credit. Isaiah Bond, he's catching the football really well this season, making plays after the catch. Kobe Prentice, against Arkansas, man, he showed up. He made some big plays because I was wondering, where's Kobe been? I'm still looking at Ja'Cory Brooks. Where are you at? But that's a testament to these young receivers that are coming up. And it's really exciting. This team, a lot of people want to down me for this. This defense is one of the best I've seen in a few years. If this defense was on last year's team, oh, natty. It's a natty. End of discussion. But right now, you compare Alabama and Georgia. Georgia's a one-trick pony. You might as well call them the Georgia Brock Bowers. Kirby Smart's over there sweating, man. They don't run the football well. They're down to about 2 running backs. They're not very deep. They've gotten almost zero production from the wide receiver position. I haven't seen one wide receiver. Ra Thomas, Dominic Lovick, I haven't seen them make any deep plays. Whenever they needed a play, Brock Bowers, they hand it off to him. They throw him screens. They do whatever they can. That's going to hurt Georgia a lot. And like I say, Georgia has so much talent, Missouri probably cannot hang with them. But Alabama, with the most talented roster in football, oh man, you better believe it. They'll probably run Georgia out the building. They'll probably restore the order back to normal when they see Georgia in that SEC championship game. Because, Kyle, this is one thing that we do know. Every time Kirby Smart hears that he's going to play the Tide, he's sweating a little bit. We've seen what happened whenever they met up in Atlanta, whenever Georgia had that legendary defense 2 years ago. Like, they were good. But whenever they ran into the Tide, Alabama went up the field, down the field, up the field, down the field on them. And the game really wasn't close.
on with Jawan from Arkansas, spitting straight facts. Honestly, really good segment right here as we talk about Alabama and kind of the job that Coach Saban has done and the legends that you're having to replace yearly. And Jawan's even doing it with the baby on the side, man. So I appreciate it. I'm a dad too, man. I've done a million of those tasks as well with the kids around. You got to be a dad, but you can still spit facts. So all respect to you, man.
Yes, sir.
Let me just run through this real quick, Jawan, as we kind of run through this. Okay, so Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, all those teams are beatable, correct? Give me like a quick synopsis on each of those teams.
Yes. I've watched Florida State. I've watched them almost every game. I've seen them almost lose against Boston College. I've seen them against Duke. Mm-hmm. Duke played them really well and really close until Riley Leonard got knocked out the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think if they play LSU again, LSU beats them.
Yep.
And I really feel that way. If LSU plays them again, yeah, LSU can beat them. Georgia, nobody besides Alabama can beat them because nobody can match up with the body type. Their defensive line is too big, and I think Alabama's already played the best defensive line in the Southeastern Conference this year, which is Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. That $25 million Jimbo spent, it paid off because that defensive line is nasty, and Alabama's right behind them as far as defensive line. So Michigan, I think Michigan is going to just run through everybody. I don't think Ohio State, they're playing a different brand of football this year. Mm-hmm. But it's just like, you remember in the early 2000s when Coach Saban first got there, you weren't going to run the ball. Alabama was all about running the ball. Mm-hmm. You weren't going to out-Alabama. You weren't going to run the ball better than them. You weren't going to be more physical. Well, Michigan has brought that physical style of football back to the Big Ten, where Ohio State's been so finesse and so pretty for so many years, they can't really out Michigan. Michigan, they didn't do anything special last year. That's what I'm saying. They can say sign stealing or whatever. All I seen Michigan do was put that football on the ground and just bash Ohio State over because everybody was saying how soft Ohio State was, and Michigan went out there and proved it. Mm-hmm. So I don't see Michigan losing a Big Ten game. Now, when they get into the playoffs, depending on who they're matched up with, maybe they can. Maybe they can get beat. But I don't see a team from the Pac-12 or the ACC or the Big Ten beating them. And I say this all the time, man. You take Arkansas, you put them in that Big 12, you put them in the Pac-12, you put them in the Big Ten or the ACC,
yeah.
You'll see a different result.
Hell yeah.
Me personally, I don't think anybody in any of those conferences can play Alabama within three touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, the level of football is really bad around the country, man.
Yep.
But it's like you have Alabama and Michigan are in their own boat in Georgia, and then it's everybody else. Everybody else can lose. And I know Alabama lost already a game, and I'm talking like they're undefeatable, but that was early on. They were still trying to match. Mm-hmm. Now they've gotten everything together. I don't see them losing. Yep. You got Texas that almost lost to Houston. Mm-hmm. You got Oklahoma who almost lost to UCF. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they definitely have some flaws, man. They're not playing high-level competition.
Yep. All right, Jawan. I got to run, man. But I appreciate you calling in, Jawan. Please call again next time. I love the context and the dialogue, man. You really spitting facts, most importantly, man. So thank you very much. I'm with you on the dad life too, man. So take care of the baby, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Oh, for sure. Thank you, Kyle. You have a good one, man.
All right, you too, man. All right, fam. If I didn't get for you today, or if I didn't get to you, rather, I will get to you tomorrow on 9 a.m. on Friday. Today I have a charity event that I'm attending right now, so I have to. I'm going to cut a video. I got to eat some breakfast, and I got to go to this event. But I will be back online tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Friday. Thank you very much for watching this morning. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys very much for being a supporter of Bama football on YouTube. And I said, if I didn't get to you today, I just, ran out of time. But thank you very much for calling in this morning, and look for more content right here on our YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up and think about becoming a fan funder by hitting the join button anywhere on the screen. It's actually on the top on desktop. It says join, and on mobile, if you go up, there's a hyperlink. Click that link and it has plenty of join options. We really appreciate your support. So coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama today on Thursday, October 26th, Kyle Henderson, Bama football on YouTube. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.